Hey CJ, it's Scott.
Sorry, who?
I've just bluffed my way onto Tiananmen Square.
Sorry, who is it?
Apparently you have to have permission the day before if you're a foreigner, as I certainly am. And at this stage, apart from having my papers checked twice, I'm free and easy wandering around Tiananmen Square looking at the Forbidden City.
Forbidden City doesn't sound free and easy. It sounds like something that's going to get you arrested.
And seeing statues of workers and seeing Mao's tomb.
Dude, if you get arrested, we're not going to be able to do the podcast. Wait. If you get arrested, we won't be able to do the podcast.
Okay, well, that was interesting. I just had a police officer come up to me.
And arrested you, and we can't do the podcast anymore?
And again asked me for my papers and asked me this
more
time,
podcast.
did I have a booking?
No more podcast.
And the answer was no, and
no more podcast.
he let me go.
Shit.
This is me.
And this is me.
And welcome to...
What's My Age Again? Again! We're back!
We're back, yes.
Sorry.
So, CJ, what are we talking about this episode?
Very good question, Scott. We're talking
It took
about...
me ages to come up with that.
And you said those hours of script meetings weren't going to be worth it. The listeners are going, fuck if only.
Yeah.
So this episode we're talking about getting away from it all.
Aha.
So as part of the reason why we deprived our loyal listeners of that episode was so that I could go, fuck you all, and disappear to South Australia.
Don't worry, listeners. I felt I was a part of that fuck you all as well.
Yeah, it was an all-inclusive fuck you all. More directed towards some people than others, I will admit.
You know who you are.
Now, unfortunately, they probably don't. So, as part of that, yes, so we're talking about getting away from it all. So, I'm going to talk about my experience fucking off to South Australia.
So you did some research.
What?
It sounds an awful lot like you did some hands-on research.
What I got up to while I was away with my hands is none of your business. Yes, I did. Yes, I did some hands-on research. I'll make a note of the time count for that and see whether I can then somehow claim that on tax. I'm guessing. If there's any accountants listening, feel free to drop me a line. You're going to talk a little bit about your experience of getting away from it all.
Yes, it
was
was
possibly less successful.
It was a very unsuccessful one, but we'll look at the upsides and the downsides of getting away from it all, and how to and how not to do it.
That's why this is such a fine, balanced podcast.
Yeah, we're going to give you the upsides and the downsides to getting away, and yeah, I think it's a public service.
We should be getting a government grant.
We should.
Yeah.
Any people from the government who are listening, please give us some ideas on how to claim a government grant for this very wonderful podcast.
Yes, unless you're in law enforcement, in which case, remember that this is all just a joke, and please don't come and find us.
Yes, please don't. Definitely not.
Speaking of,
yes.
So in my to get to South Australia, I drove.
Okay, so this is where you went on your getaway.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
So I drove there. It took me 9 hours to get there. It took me about 12 hours to get back.
That's an excessively long time. It took me 7.5 hours to drive to Melbourne start of the year.
You're aware that Melbourne to Sydney is a different place, different location to Melbourne, South Australia.
Yes, but I would also say that Sydney is far distant than South Australia, I would have thought.
You happy with that? Far distant?
Oh, well, okay. is a lot further away. Take two. I would suggest that Sydney is a lot further away from Melbourne than South Australia is.
Apparently not. Yeah, I don't know, actually. Was 800 kilometres ish.
Okay. I'm going to do a bit of Googling.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it's about 800 kilometres, which I worked out is about 500 miles, which is a fucking long way to walk, especially to do it twice. So you would have to be very, very keen on someone to do that.
Okay, so from Sydney to Melbourne, it is... Oh, no, it says it's 9 hours and 10 minutes. Actually, looking at the map, though, it's not a whole... Adelaide does look... I mean, it's closer, but it's not as close as I thought it was. So there you go. Sorry. I retract everything.
Right. So, yes, it's a long fucking way. So the segue that is now... The tenuous segue that I was trying to make, which is now meaningless because we're so
stopped
far
all over it.
We're so far away from it. It doesn't matter. Was that on the way back, I decided to plan my route, be prepared to be shocked, to stop at a brewery. Because I thought what I can do is on the way back, I'll probably be more tired. So I'll give myself the option of when I drive back, just saying, all right, I'll drive all the way, or I'll kind of go on board and I'll stop, or I'm tired and I'll stop. So I went, where's a brewery on the way? So I found a brewery in a place called Robe Town. What I hadn't taken into account was that it was actually a long weekend, so I couldn't get anywhere to stay. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't even get a murder hotel to stay. Even the caravan park was full, which in hindsight worked out well because had I been able to get a side, I didn't have a caravan. But I did go to the brewery. And a nice, fine little brewery it was. Really friendly people. They have quite a good range. This brings me to cue music thing.
Drum roll, please.
What's my beer? Yeah.
We actually do need one of those.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But we got one now. What's my beer? Again. Do your magic on that. All right. I'm drinking, for this episode, a Robe Brewery beer called Do You Make an IPA?
Okay, and do they?
Well, it seems like a rhetorical question, but the fact that this is an IPA makes it not a rhetorical question. So,
self-referential.
Yeah. Do you make an IPA? A question often asked at Robetown Brewery over the past many years. Now we can finally say, yes, we do. It's not too bad. It's kind of malty and caramel. Which you don't really need on the label because I'm holding a bottle of it.
That's true, but it's probably a better answer than fuck off. No, we don't.
Well, that explains why my beer business didn't go well. So it's a single malt and single hope IPA.
Single hope?
Yeah, apparently typography or proofreading isn't big at Robe Brewery.
Maybe it's for another one of those Star Wars beers. Send me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
You're my single hope. Single malt and single hope, probably hop IPA, made here in Robe, not Rome, Robe.
Robe if you want to.
Robe around the room. Made here in Robe when we get the itch. So when herpes season comes along,
it's time to make the IPA.
We'll bang out an IPA. You should probably invest in some topical cream. This is their 5th incarnation of DYM IPA. What should be DYMA IPA.
Well, apparently
it's like they're not paying attention at all. Well, possibly because they're too busy scratching. Our DYPA is our favourite to date and has heaps of our typical malt-heavy backbone with plenty of dry hopping to boot.
To boot.
Full flavour, and very low bitterness. I wonder if you could use this as a dating profile.
It's you should do that.
My name's CJ. I'm typically malt heavy, full of backbone and dry hopping. Seeking same with full flavour and very low bitterness. So it's quite nice. I quite like it, which is unfortunate because I only bought one bottle, and Robe don't seem to have a large distribution network. So if I want another one, it's going to be a 7-hour drive.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
do you know what I did in Robe?
What did you do in Robe?
None of your business. See, it's just got that break's just it's just got better, folks. Yeah. So that's my beer again. What's your beer again?
My beer again. I'm drinking a Mountain Culture Beer Company lager.
Very adventurous of you.
Very adventurous. It's a bit different. It's from Katoomba in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales. Now on the can it says, for this a taproom favourite, we strip the water back to absolute basic level of softness to make the beer super crisp, clean, and refreshing. I don't know if you want a dirty beer, but that's beside the point. Now, I did a little bit of Googling about the Mountain Culture Beer Company.
Right.
And this was quite interesting because it's a brew pub in the Blue Mountains, but apparently the original pub was built in 1912 in Katoomba, and later it allegedly passed time as a dancing saloon and home for lost or belated drunks.
It just described every pub.
Until finally ending up as a civic video store. And then in 2017, the new owners embarked on transforming the dilapidated building into the first brew pub in the Blue Mountains. So there you go.
It sounds like if I was going to be reincarnated as a building, I'd like to be that one.
So it sounds like it might be an interesting place to head to one day, actually.
Yeah.
But the beer itself, I'm enjoying. It is. I guess it's crisp. I don't really know how to describe beer. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. I like this.
Can you taste the softness?
I can. It's like it's a pillow in my mouth.
My tongue wants to curl up and have a nap.
No, I'm enjoying it. I don't know how else to say it without sounding wanky. So
it's far too late for
that. Anyway, I'm enjoying my Mountain Culture Lager. So thank you, Mountain Culture Lager. I wish you'd given it to me. It cost me $24 for 4 cans, which by your standards is cheap, but by Sydney standards is expensive. Okay, so I bet we. Oh, fuck me. So let's get on with the show. You went on a getting away from it all trip. What prompted you to feel you need to get away from it all?
Good question. So I've been wanting to have a holiday since. So I was supposed to have a holiday just before COVID, which obviously didn't happen. And then I've been wanting to have a holiday since probably February. I kind of half booked a holiday, and then it kept getting cancelled because of work commitments. Because I'm a massive suck up at work, apparently.
That doesn't sound like you.
Overwhelm's probably a bit too strong a word, but it's probably not far off. It was just this sense of anytime I do something, if I finished it, there was no, oh wow, that's good. Like I published Connection Lost, and there was no, oh, this is awesome, well done, and give myself a pat on the back and let's celebrate. It was like, okay, now what's next? I've got to do something else. And it just was just one thing after another, after another.
I think it's very hard to be that cheerleader for yourself, though. Yeah,
I've got the outfit, but it still makes it difficult.
I'd like to see that. Not for any sexual reason, just because it'd be pretty funny.
So one of the other reasons that I wanted to do it was that as part of a presentation I'm doing, I'm looking at risk and how people assess risk differently, which I mentioned in the last bit of an episode that we did, and threatened to do that, something on that in this episode, which we're not. We're going to do that later. Because
it's a hollow threat, was
it? Yeah, because it's important to stick with expectations. I don't think anybody's listening to this expecting it to be some kind of episode on risk, like I said it was going to be.
Oh, look, there's probably about, I don't know, 5 or 10 people who are turning this off now, disgusted that you've misled them.
I admire your optimism that 5 or 10 people have got this far. So yes, so as part of that, of doing research, actual research for that around risk, I was looking through like what kills people in Australia, like what Australians die of. One of the biggest things that people, or in fact, the number one thing that Australians die of,
Is people from South Australia?
No, it's listening to podcasts about aging. Is heart disease.
Right.
And it's like it's been the number one killer in Australia since like 1968.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not before that.
Oh, possibly was. That was as far back as I got. But good news. Dementia is pulling in a late run, so it's making its way up the charts.
Go, you good thing.
And as I found out the other day, apparently, you know how I said in a previous episode that if you live long enough, you'll get prostate cancer, assuming you're male.
Yes.
It's like everybody will get it as long as you live long. Dementia's the same. If you can live long enough, you'll get dementia.
Look, I've got to say, because I just finished listening to Patrick Stewart's autobiography on audiobook.
That's the best way to listen to it, I find, audiobook. It's I've tried listening to an ebook. It's
crickets.
It doesn't work anywhere near as well.
Anyway, so I'm listening to this audiobook, and like Patrick Stewart, you know, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, renowned for having this amazing voice. And
got someone else to do it?
Sorry?
And you got someone else to do it?
No, he did it himself. But he's an old man. He sounds like an old man. In fact, to the point where he even alludes to that. He's saying how he, you know, at the very end, he says, you know, obviously you can tell my voice isn't what it used to be. Something like that.
Yeah.
But he also, like he's reading, but if that's for someone who's a trained Shakespearean actor, some of his reading isn't as great as you'd expect either. So clearly he's struggling a little bit.
Right.
It would seem. He's 83.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a tiny bit sad. It was a good book. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anyone who's a fan of Patrick Stewart. But it still was a little sad to sort of think because you think about him, because he looked old when he became famous,
right?
But he was only 45.
Oh, I did not know that.
And so he's looked the same for the last 40 years, which isn't bad. But now the voice and maybe he's not quite as sharp as he was. You can tell.
Right.
And that was a bit sad. But sorry, carry on. Why went off on that? Why did he go off on that little tangent?
No.
There was a reason, but I don't know why.
I find it best with people your age to just let them go.
Strip in reason here as to why I made that segue. Because there's a reason.
I was talking about the joys of looking forward to getting dementia.
Oh, that's what it was. So I think I was sort of saying, like, you live long enough, you get dementia. It sounds like he's on the road.
Right.
So, and that's the point I was trying to make, I guess.
Right. So you heard it here first. For any lawyers out there, Scott's just announced that apparently Patrick Stewart seems like he's getting dementia.
I could be wrong. Patrick, I love you.
I've got nothing funny to say about it. Yeah, so heart disease, biggest killer in Australia. And one of the things that contributes to heart disease, aside from eating shitty food and drinking too much beer and not exercising is stress. So I figured, well, there's one thing out of those four that I can change. So I thought what I should probably do is do something to reduce my stress levels, because if for no other reason, the thought of having a heart attack because I was stressed would piss me off to no end.
Yeah, I
Like
hear
if I'm
you.
going to have a heart attack, it's because of eating shitty food and not exercising and drinking too much beer. Also, handy sideline fun fact for you that I heard the other day from the Victorian paramedics. 20 people in Victoria have call an ambulance because of a cardiac arrest every day. Of which
Are they sort of doing it for fun? Is it the same 20 people?
and now that I've said that out loud, I'm pretty sure that I've got the time frame of this.
I don't think so. I think that would be perfectly accurate.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, it could be because the other part of it was that only 2 of them survived.
Yeah,
but 18 people are dying a day of cardiac arrest seems like a lot.
I hope to God that if I get to the point where I'm having a cardiac arrest, before I get too far, that I recognise the signs and do something about it before it was too late. My old man was driving his car and started to have a heart attack. He knew he was having a heart attack, but decided to drive home while he was having a heart attack.
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd probably do.
Yeah, it's like, pull over, call a freaking ambulance.
Yeah,
but,
actually, I probably would have done changed Google Maps to where's the nearest hospital, mate.
Yeah, but I don't think people make wise choices, it seems. Like, in general, I'm sure that some people make amazing choices, but, I hope I make better choices than that, because that seemed like, was he going to make it home? Would he have a car accident on the way home? Would he kill somebody else on the way home when he had a car accident and careered into the baby carriage to the lady who was crossing the road? Who knows? But, yeah, I think some people make really weird choices, and I think it doesn't surprise me at all that lots of people don't make it. They wait till the last possible moment, call the ambulance, and then sort of 90% of them die.
Yeah, I actually remember talking to some people from the Heart Foundation, and that's what they said. A lot of people, it would have been preventable had they said something to someone.
Yeah.
That no 2 heart attacks are the same. So the symptoms that if we both had one now, you might have different symptoms to me, and so there's not necessarily an indication of it. But just like all the different things, like there's pain in your jaw and a thing in your chest
in
and
your jaw,
your arm, and you can get pain in your jaw, you can get pain down your arm, you get pain in your chest.
That's something else for a second. Pain in your ass.
you break it like flop sweat, nausea. And so the disadvantage of knowing all this is that I spend the majority of my time going, no, hang on, I seem to be sweating for no reason. I don't feel well. My arm hurts.
I have a pain in the jaw.
Am I having how many do I need 7 out of 5? Or I've always got some of these symptoms. So I could be dropping dead of a heart attack at any given time. Anyway.
Well, my side of it, sorry, just to say to talk about myself for a moment. I have in my left ear, I have what's called pulsatile tinnitus. So it's not the tinnitus which makes a sound like. All it means is I can hear my pulse in my ear, particularly when it's quiet. And I noticed one night, because I'm lying in bed, and I hear thump 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 thump, and then it started to go. There was this arrhythmia, sort of going thump 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 thump, and I'm going, this isn't good. And then you sort of start thinking about it, and you listen to the point where I went to a doctor who then referred me to a cardiologist who put me on a treadmill. And it was like, yeah, it's not doing it when you're under stress. So therefore, that's good. You can have arrhythmia when you're not under stress. That's normal. But if you're under stress and it doesn't do it, that's a good thing. So you're actually quite well. But of course, whenever you start thinking about these things, that's going back to what you're saying. You said you become aware of something, and suddenly you start to worry about it.
Yes.
But then, so the question then is, are the people who are calling the ambulance too late, are they sort of thinking that they're being stupid? I suppose they do.
Probably. Yeah.
Anyway,
but there is a big thing. So for anybody who's listening, all the paramedics that I've spoken to and all the people at the Heart Foundation that I spoke to, they all say, just call the fucking ambulance.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. If they arrive and turns out that you're not having a heart attack, they're not going to go, you prick. It's like, well, we're not wasting our trip here. Stab.
Well, I've gone into the hospital twice because I'm feeling chest pain of sorts, which turned out to be referred pain from my back. My back was out, and because where your ribs meet your spine, it can be a bit out, and I was getting this referred pain around my chest. Twice I've reported to hospital and had to sit there while they did all these tests to tell me that I was fine.
Right.
But I still would rather do that than die if I can possibly avoid it.
I don't know. I've spent quite a bit of time sitting in a hospital waiting. It's got a bit of iffy of, if I leave, I might die. Is that better than what I'm doing now? So, yes, as I was saying, I figure if I'm going to die of something heart related, I want it to be on my own terms, not because I'm pissed off about something at work.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was the main reason for getting away, and that was the main reason for saying I want to get away somewhere on my own where there's kind of nothing. And so the boat in Hindmarsh Island was good. There was 2 days there. It wasn't quite as alone as I'd hoped. Not in that there was somebody else on the boat, but then when I got to the other place, it was like literally a tiny house made of a couple of shipping containers on a lake, and like you had to go across a gangplank to get to it.
So it was like literally on a lake?
Yeah, literally on a lake. Okay. And it was just like there was nowhere. I got some supplies before I went there and then didn't put my pants on until I had to leave.
There's too much information.
In hindsight, I should have put my pants on when I went and got the supplies as well. But it was just like there was no one and there was nothing, and it was just this huge expanse of water and sunsets and flocks of birds and ducks that would come up and kind of jump up on the decking and say hello, and it was unbelievably relaxing. Like I could literally feel the stress just draining away.
Okay.
It was
got to be good.
And unfortunately I could only get 2 nights there, so it was kind of 3 days-ish. But it's probably one of the best holidays I've ever had.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
From the first flickers of ingenuity, humankind has excelled in creating civilization-defining innovations. Lightbulb Moments in Human History is a book that provides irreverent yet affectionate glimpses into ancient people and their big ideas. Explore the evolution of sciences, religions, technologies, and social systems. Lightbulb Moments in Human History is released in audiobook on the 16th of November and will be half price till the end of the month.
To give you the downside of getting away, I fully appreciate that. I applaud the fact that getting away from it all was helpful to you. I think you may have to, not you, but a person planning a getting away from it all thing needs to do a bit of planning, and a bit better planning than I did when I did my getaway, which didn't work out. It was about 3 years ago. It was after the end of a relationship. I'd been swiped with it. I didn't see it coming, so I was quite shocked and upset. And I decided I was going to go somewhere familiar, which was Pecolbin, which is a wine area north of Sydney. Now, I had lived there for a period of about 5 years, or close to there, and I don't know why I quite chose to go back there, because it wasn't the most successful period in my life. So going back there brought back a lot of bad memories of a previous time. Then I was taking with me the depression of having sort of had a sort of unexpected relationship breakup. And then I chose to stay at a place that was decidedly below par. It looked great on the internet, but when I got there, I was like, "Oh my god, this place is terrible." So I spent 3 days wishing I was somewhere else. And in fact, I have an excerpt from my journal at the time, which will tell you exactly how I was feeling. I decided to spend a few days away to get my head together, and I was staying at a very disappointing place. It's a bit depressing, really. I'm not sure why I did it. Spending 3 nights at Pecolman was a bad idea. I just want to go home. What did you do? What planning did you do that made yours successful and mine? I know mine was a disaster. I mean, I went somewhere stupid. It literally was, and more than one. It was professionally and personally one of the worst times of my life.
So to probably the subtle differences in the planning between yours and mine were when I was thinking about places to go, I didn't think the best place to go would be somewhere where I spent the worst 5 years of my life, both personally and professionally. Just staying somewhere that was substandard, that I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but I think there might be a couple of differences in my planning model. So just to clarify this a bit further, so my planning was to get away to a tiny house on a lake, surrounded by a whole bunch of nothing, and you went to a motel.
Well, I didn't know it was a motel as such at the time. They didn't sell it like that. It wasn't how it was portrayed on it was, but that's effectively what it was. And I was in a stone's throw of a winery which holds rock concerts,
Right.
but not good rock concerts, not ones I wanted to go and see. So I'm in this a motel that I don't want to be in, feeling depressed. And all I can hear is this incredibly loud music that's shit. I'm surprised my journal entry doesn't say "kill me now."
So just making a note to if when going on holidays with Scott, don't let him organise it. So are you planning just to sit in your room for 3 days?
I was going to go and write. I mean, I did drive around, but of course, what turned out, everywhere I drove held bad memories. I'll go for a drive. Oh my God, I worked there and that was terrible. Or I used to know people who live there and, they turned their back on me or whatever. And it was just horrible. A word to the wise, if you are planning a solo, getting away from it all trip, you need to get away from it all. Don't put yourself in the middle of PTSD land.
It kind of sounds like the equivalent of a Vietnam vet going, I need to get away from it all. I'm off to Cambodia for a week.
And now a word from our sponsors.
So I've completed and published my latest book.
Another hilarious comedy in the same genre as Colin Calls the Help Desk.
This one's called Connections Lost. And it's
about your internet?
Well, currently, yes. But in this case, the book is a romantic suspense. It's about a woman named Belinda who's stuck in a shitty marriage and a dead-end job.
So it's autobiographical then?
No. She's female. Anyway, if you don't mind. So Belinda meets this guy, James. He's exciting and charismatic. She asks herself, do I need to remain married to a disconnected douchebag who she's 99% sure is having an affair and working for a boss who's an arrogant asshole?
What does she answer?
Well, that kind of gives the story away, but captivated by James's charisma and thirst for life, Belinda wonders if it's too late to rekindle her own lost passions. I'm reading this for the back of the book because
Okay.
I realised that where I'd written in the script for this bit, I'd just written, read the bit that's on the back of the book. And I actually hadn't pasted it in there. So I'm just quickly reading it off the back of the book, which is why it's kind of doesn't flow really nicely. Anyway, this is doing nothing to help the seriousness of this story. James turns out to be a bit of a whiz with computers. He's got a bit of a cyber.
He's a whiz, computer
whiz.
a whiz.
Yes. So he's got quite a computer expertise, as they say, or expert whiz. But plot twist, behind his charming facade is James hiding a dangerous secret of his own.
Well, I'm assuming so.
Well, okay, yes, technically it'd be probably over in 15 pages, so let's assume he is. Hashtag spoiler alert, thank you.
Sounds more suspense than romance.
Yeah, it's kind of what I think too, but there's not really a suspense with a bit of romance thing genre. So, but anyway, it's my first one, so who can tell?
Does he Roger her?
You have to find that out. You'll have to buy the book.
And where would such an interesting book be available?
Ooh, nice segue, thank you. It is, of course, available in the same place as all my other books on the bookshelf in my lounge room. But if that's too difficult to do, you can pick it up on the Amazon. It's available as usual in all the backs: paperback, Kindle back, hardback. Which reminds me, I went to the library the other day and asked for that new book about turtles. Librarian said hardback. I said yes, and Tiny Legs.
God.
Connection Lost by Elwood Scott. Available on Amazon now. So I have done some research to help identify what's the best way to make sure you have a fulfilling and meaningful getting away from it all holiday. So I thought what we might do is we might just use your getting away from it all holiday as an example.
Yep.
And see how many of these you can answer positively. Number 1, choose the right destination. Seek out tranquility, nature, adventure, culture, or whatever environment will meet your needs. On a scale of 1 to 2, how close to you were you to that?
I was at a 0, I think.
Right.
If 2 is the best and 0 is the worst.
Right. Okay. Number 2, have a loose plan. Well, I think maybe you had a bit of a loose plan. Structure your days with activities you enjoy, but leave plenty of time open to go with the flow. Balance spontaneity with some routine.
Now, I think I did that more than it seems.
Okay.
The problem was what I hadn't taken into account was the trauma that being in that place was going to bring up. So going back there, having tried to forget totally about it, to then put myself in the midst of it all was actually quite traumatic. So yeah, my loose plan was I had a loose plan, and I was going to do activities that I enjoyed, but it turned out that I didn't enjoy them because I hadn't really understood how horrific they were going to make me feel.
Which brings us to number 3. Focus inward. Spend time in self-reflection through journaling. Help. Get me out of here. Help.
Does overthinking mean focusing inward? Because I overthought a lot.
Well, technically, yeah. The alone time can spur personal insights. Well, it certainly did that.
It did that, yes. It was like, I never want to do this ever again. And
yeah. Number 4, disconnect from technology.
Well, I think what happened was I was so sort of lonely and depressed that I actually did more online, Twitter stuff and all that kind of stuff than I would have otherwise. So definitely didn't disconnect from technology.
Right. Number 5, meet locals. Stay at small inns. Eat at local restaurants. Chat with residents. Interacting with locals provides connection.
Okay. The only local I connected with, so I went to a local winery and got chatting with the guy behind the counter, and I ended up signing up for a $250 a quarter wine club, which was not good because I never would spend $1,000 on wine in a year usually, but I did that year.
Will you be my friend? Sure, just sign up for the 250. Okay.
He was literally the only person I spoke to. Desperate was I.
Number 6. Keep a healthy mindset. Be mentally prepared.
Why are you laughing?
Be mentally prepared to handle solitude. Bring books, podcasts, or music that help keep your mind positive. On a scale of 1 to fucking not at all.
I think not at all.
Right. Pamper yourself. Treat yourself to massages, nice meals out, visits to spas, or anything else indulgent. You deserve it.
Well, I spent $250 on wine that I didn't need.
Fair enough. Well, you certainly wouldn't have got the next one. Appreciate the silence.
Oh, no. Didn't appreciate that at all.
Spend intentional time simply sitting and appreciating the peacefulness around you.
But I actually tried to. I went to sit outside because there was a like an outdoor area with a table.
Right.
I went to sit up there and got attacked by mosquitoes.
Actually, I'm quite pleased looking at the re-looking at this list. Considering I really didn't think it through much more than that place looks nice. I'd like to go there.
Hmm.
It all seemed to fell into place.
Yeah,
quite well.
I do think you had a better mindset than I did. I mean, like literally, as the last line from my journal is, "I just want to go home." I'd have been far happier at home.
That to me just seems like the last line in a journal that you could find in like prisoners or World War II journals.
Burke and Wills. So yeah, but you don't have to go away by yourself. But if you do go away by yourself, then I think some of these suggestions are quite good, considering I broke all of them and had a terrible time. It's pretty much common sense.
Yeah. Thanks, Internet.
Well, that's it for solo getting away from it all journeys. Take from that what you will.
So I think my key takeaway from this is that you should never start a travel agency.
Me personally, definitely not.
Just broken up from a relationship? Come on down to Scott's Depressing Tours.
We'll take you on a tour of all the worst times in your life. Think things couldn't get any worse?
That's a great tagline for a holiday company.
Oh,
there's an entire market segment out there for that too.
Anyway, cue the drums and outro. See you later. Hopefully, I'll make it back from China.
So, seeing we're in this exciting, innovative season 2 of yours, we should probably do a new intro and a new intro.
Outro.
Yeah, we should probably do one of those as well. So, what is it we say in the outro?
Oh, I don't know. I never listened that far.
There's something about you should like, rate, review, and follow all episodes so you don't miss out on any of this exciting, brilliant content.
Absolutely life-changing content, I agree.
Or if you've got an interesting question or story, drop us a line at theoldfolkshome69@gmail.com.
And, of course, all our other social accounts are some weird combination of Old Folks Home and 69, so...
Hey, it seemed funny at the time, all right? I regret it now.
Say goodnight, CJ.
Goodbye, CJ.
Fuck's sake.
And that's the perfect ending.
Is there anything else we need to say, or should we
Nah.
wrap this up?